whoa, 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 whoa. Guys, I ate so many fucking cookies and so much zucchini bread.
Were they
I feel like a cookie.
zucchini
And
cookies?
yeah,
That's awesome.
I've made so many fucking cookies this month. It's ridiculous. And I ate a hot dog bun with butter today, just as a sandwich. I think I'm dying. I am just. You remember how I lost like 180 something pounds? I'm pretty sure I'm picking it all back up this week. Just kidding. Hi and welcome to Murder News Podcast, part of
Part of the
the
Slash and
Slash and
Cast.
Cast podcast network.
It's
It's
in
in
the
the
game.
game.
It's in Kin's
It's
ass.
in my ass.
Along with hot dog
Hey.
butter buns and cookies and zucchinis.
So explain the ingestion of a hot dog, just a hot dog butter bun, just
Yeah,
the
it's just a hot dog bun with nothing in it other than a big old slab of butter. It's like making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
without the peanut butter or the jelly.
Yeah,
So it's not
butter.
It's more like you went to Texas Roadhouse and got the rolls there and didn't get anything else. But way
What
more
kind of
white
butter was
trash.
Yeah.
What kind of butter was it?
It was real butter. Real
So it
salted
wasn't even
butter.
the Texas Roadhouse awesome butter.
No, but it wasn't
So did
margarine. It was
you-
real
Kim,
butter.
Blink if you need rescuing. Okay.
From
I would-
myself.
I would believe it, but like then we see God, I just had a brain fart. The fat cat. What's his name?
Stripes?
Stripes, who weighs a metric ton. And so like you can't ever believe Stripes looks like all those like bears that they always get in like Kin's neck of the woods where they're like, oh, this bear can't like move like before hibernation, and then that's just Stripes. It's like this cat.
Stripes and I are going on permanent hibernation mode.
I mean, you do live in Canada, basically, so I mean, I understand it, but like, yeah.
I also ate a whole jalapeno fresh from the garden on stream in one bite. Do not do that. I genuinely thought that people were just being pussies or like faking it up when people did that
No,
on
they're
streams
not.
and stuff.
No, they're not.
Oh my God. I've never I freaked out. Like my eyes were like pouring. Like I was hiccuping. I was burping. Like I didn't have any milk. So I
shit
started with
myself.
water.
I forgot who I was
and then
for
I had
3 hours.
and then I had ice. And then I had I had a couple bites of a hamburger bun because that's the only bread I had. And then somebody was like, put honey on the hamburger or on the hot dog
What is
bun.
that, Rod?
And
I've eaten these on
Bean
streams. They are
I hate
hot.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, so they're hot beans,
Yeah,
including
no thanks.
Carolina Reapers. And
Like,
my chat thinks those are fucking hysterical, and occasionally makes
for
me eat
the
them.
most part, like I can do heat. I can do it. But my stomach cannot.
Yeah.
Because I do have an ulcer
Yeah.
that reminds me that I'm old. Oh, by the way, I'm 47 now. I turned 47.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday!
Happy birthday,
Thank you.
Brian!
Yeah.
Did
I
you
turned-
wish yourself a happy birthday on
I
the
did.
Twitter
I
account?
turned
Okay, good.
47 on Thursday. I took the day off and I watched Strange Darling.
I heard that's
how was
awesome.
that?
Fucking
the-
amazing.
Yeah, I heard it's really good.
It is
Except-
so good. It's the best movie I've seen this year that's come out this year. It's the best movie I've seen. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I've heard it's really
It
good.
has got if Willa Fitzgerald isn't a household name by the middle of next year, then Hollywood fucking failed.
I mean,
It's
Mr.
completely fucking failed.
Mr. Horror's in that movie.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, and
Kyle.
Kyle Gallner, who also should be a household name, but we've known that for a little while now. Willa Fitzgerald, the only other thing I'd ever seen her in was a Scream TV series, at least to my knowledge. I might have seen her in something else,
well, dude,
but
as
she's so fucking good in this movie, dude.
you
She's
get
so fucking good. They're both so good.
as you guys as I rewatched the remake of The Last House on the Left today, I go, fuck, I know every single member of this cast. From the killers, I mean, mostly you know every member of the cast, but the killer side is just like all these people that I'm like, I fucking love all these people's actors.
Yeah.
And then you're like, Oh, I forgot because that came out right when Breaking Bad was coming out, and so like you're sitting there going, "Oh, okay, this is Aaron Paul before he was Aaron Paul," and then
Right, yeah.
the guy Bert from Raising Hope, and like he was a bad guy in Looper, and then the chick from the was it Oates and Holland or whatever the fuck their group is that
Yeah, it's what is it? Yeah, I know what you're talking about though. That
they
little,
sing the song
that
about
little
how
silly little-
if you do anal, it doesn't count against God's will.
Yeah, they've got all sorts of funny
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. So it's that kind of thing where like you go back and watch something and you go, oh shit, because like you don't realize that all these people, because like when you saw it, it wasn't like they weren't the big stars they were, and it's just like, fuck, man. And then the chick from wasn't she in the like fourth Halloween Town? I think one of those Halloween Town movies. So yeah, the
It's
Halloween.
Garfunkel and Oates.
Yeah, Garfunkel and Oates. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So what do you guys all been doing? I know Ken is now a full WoW degenerate.
I mean, not
I like it
full.
popping
I like
in
how
on
she starts
Ken's-
scratching. She's like
doesn't
she started like scratching like Dave Chappelle when he's like needs cocaine on crack on. He's like, hey, I need. Y'all got some of that WoW? Y'all got some of that WoW?
Got any more of them expansion packs?
I mean, sorry. I've been playing WoW. I've been taking down wallpaper. I'm learning all kinds of cool tricks for taking down wallpaper, and I only have 1/3 of a room left out there, not even half of a bathroom, and then one wall in a bedroom, and then all the wallpaper in this house is down. And I am
hate
so
wallpaper.
You know what I would
excited.
have done?
Burned
house.
it down.
Set it fucking down. Yeah.
Yep.
I would've
Honestly, it
burned
hasn't been
other-
that bad. It truly hasn't been that bad. Like, because I was worried because when I went to take it down initially, I was like, first of all, this is an old house, so you know that shit's gonna be on there. Second of all, like I tried to pull some and they didn't seal where they had done like drywall patching at one point, so it just wasn't coming, and I was like, fuck. So I looked online and they were like, yeah, just get like they rent out these things. They're like big wet steam things kind of that you can get at like Home Depot, and then you just run it along and it loosens it up. And I was like, well, we don't have a Home Depot. So I went to the hardware store and I was telling him about it, and he was like, just buy a cheap clothes iron and take a wet cloth. And I was like, brilliant. So I started doing that, and then I learned really, really quickly that if you forget and accidentally flip the cloth the wrong way after you've used it, sometimes glue residue is on the other side, and that gets to the bottom of the iron, but that's fine. That's specifically the point of this iron.
Yeah.
Then I realized that I could spritz the wall with just water and then use a scraper, and it comes right off, the glue and all.
Holler.
Nice.
So I'm just peeling that shit off left and right, and
It's amazing how wallpaper was so fucking popular.
I
Yeah.
don't get it. I don't get
And
it.
I don't know why it ever was.
and people are bringing it back. Like I can understand
really?
in some cases. Oh yeah. Like I can
What?
understand in some cases, like I would love to have a wall that's like birch trees. And obviously I'm not going to sit and paint birch trees.
Why the fuck
And
not?
well,
That's what that's come on, Ken. Pop a fucking edible and just go
And
Bob
let's
Ross
go.
on that bitch. Just paint all the fucking trees.
Happy little accidents, Ken.
Happy little accidents, and just fucking put a fucking even go big. Give yourself a nice fro and put, and put a beard on and just Bob Ross the fuck.
I'm for
Do
it.
it on stream.
I'm for it. Let's do it.
Do
But
it
yeah,
on
so
stream.
I've
You should
almost
totally
finished.
stream that.
I've almost finished that. I've been baking nonstop, and I put a harness on one of the cats, not mine, one of the other cats, because he really likes plants and he used to be an outdoor cat. That was a huge mistake because now all he does is walk around the house and cry and run to the door, and I feel so bad. And I've taken him out twice. I feel
Dude,
so bad.
I saw a chick on a dating app recently who was like, "Come hike with me and my cat," and she had a cat on a leash on a hike, and I'm like, I respect it, but this is also insane. Like, I was like, there's this like half of me that's like, that's cool, and then the other half of me is like, oh, this bitch is crazy. because
No, I think like if I would have done that with Weasel when she was little, it would have been fine. But like even this cat, he just wants to eat grass. He just wants to walk straight to where the high grass is and just lay down and eat
Did-
grass. He gives zero fucks about anything else.
did while you were watching the original Last House on the Left, were you like
Did I hear where it said your name really loudly? Yes.
no, I meant the weasel line. The weasel character is like weasel. Did they say weasel? Or am I losing my fucking mind? Wasn't the kid named
I don't
Weasel?
remember that part.
Yeah, why can't I? Yeah.
Wasn't the kid named Weasel in the original? I don't fucking know.
Are you talking about Junior?
Wasn't he
Oh
called-
yeah. Fred Weasel Podolski.
someone was named Weasel in that one. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ! I watched it today. I'm like, I know I'm crazy, but holy fuck.
Yeah, that was in the original, right?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I thought you were talking about the remake.
No.
Oh.
So what's up with you, Brian? How's your week been? Besides getting old.
Yeah, besides getting old, yeah, I survived my 47th trip around this tiny little planet we call Earth. And yeah, other than watching Strange Darling on my birthday, and I just been cleaning my house the past couple of days because I kind of let it go to shit. So I've been cleaning the house, and yeah, I really haven't been up to much other than that. I downloaded the demo for the casting of Frank Stone because that comes out on like Tuesday.
I have no
so it
idea
comes
what
out in a
that
couple
is.
of days, and I'm gonna play through that, and I might buy the game because it's only $40.
I don't know what
So-
that is.
Which game
The
is
casting of Frank Stone, that is the game that Supermassive teamed up with Behavior to make. It's a story-driven game, very similar to like Until Dawn and The
Okay.
Quarry,
Oh, okay.
and it takes place in the same universe as Dead by Daylight.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
So yeah, it looks amazing, and I downloaded the demo, but I haven't played through the demo yet.
Nice.
So
Dude, I finished up was it Crime Scene Cleaner? That game was fun.
fantastic! Oh, I saw you playing that.
Yeah.
I love popping in on Ken's stream, by the way, because she doesn't know who the fuck I am.
I mean,
I'll say hi, and she's like, hi,
you
name, and then I.
well, I mean, you used
Now
to
I
be,
can't remember what your username is.
That's okay, and I'm never gonna remind you.
Oh,
I mean,
fuck sauce.
you used to be like Santa Carla Bryan back
It
in
is
the day.
Santa Carla Bryan. And
Oh,
she
is it
saw
still-
that, and she said, "Hi,
Oh.
Santa Carla Bryan. Is
Oh.
that right? You called me Santa first.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, that sounds like him.
That sounds right.
And that game was a lot of fun, but like I was just like the levels get like so massive. Like the last couple levels are like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours long to like finish them because they're so fucking big. But I enjoyed that game. It was fun, and I just went back and played the original Escape from Monkey Island, and like
oh, nice.
streamed through all of that on Saturday, basically most of it. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But I really like that game. Trick almost murdered me. I'm at my house for like a little bit and then going back to Denver where I'm house sitting. And I was like walking out the front door with the dogs, and Trick pulled on his leash so hard that it broke, and I fell on my ass. And then if it wasn't dark out, everyone would have laughed at me, but nobody saw it. So I hope nobody saw it. So yeah. So that's probably much been what I've been doing. Nothing productive. So, yep.
Good stuff.
Yep. Was it that game you were talking about from the Dead by Daylight? What's it called?
Yeah, the casting of Frank Stone.
It sounds like a porno, but
It is.
okay, cool. I mean, casting couch. Come on, man.
Yeah,
Come on.
The casting of Frank Stone. Evan
Stone.
Stone's little brother, but he's not so little, kids.
He's
He's
little,
He's
but he's
swinging
big.
19, the fucking ding dang.
Oh fuck, man.
A la Rod the Cobb, I hear.
Yeah. I mean,
I hear when Rod gets an erection, he passes out from the wall.
I do. It just
blood.
it takes
That's
all it takes all my blood flow and just goes. That's why I tell women how big my penis is, and they just go, "I can't date you. You're like too intimidating." And then that's why I'm single.
His Tinder profile is literally just his fucking dick.
His Tinder profile says, "If you're a woman that goes on hikes with cats, get the fuck out."
Fuck out. Mine would
No.
say must own a Ouija board to date. I need a weird spooky, like a super weird spooky.
I mean, if you were trying to date at this age frame, you're gonna get weird. Don't believe me about
Me,
that.
I'm gonna get grandmas. Okay, that's what I'm gonna get because I'm a grandpa, so it's only fair.
I mean,
So if
mentally,
I started dating like now, like first of all, I would have to figure out how to use Tinder, and I'd be like that old man, like, what do I do? You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like,
bullshit. You can operate Twitch and everything else. You can run Tinder.
well, I'd still have to figure out how to use it. I'm just saying there
I
would
wouldn't.
definitely be. I felt like I felt the oldest I had ever felt not too long ago when I went to it was my second rehearsal with my new band because it's my first time using wireless in-ear monitors. All right.
Yeah.
I had used them once before in the past, but this was a whole new level. Plug them into a thing. And then we had an app that we downloaded on our fucking phone. So I had to connect to the fucking PA system via Wi-Fi, not Bluetooth. And I had to find the PA, and then I had to get in there. And then I could select my name and give myself my own mix that I wanted from the whole band because everybody's playing through the PA, even the drums and everything are all mic'd and everything. It's the most professional setup I've ever had in my life, and I felt so fucking old with my reader glasses on. Not even these fucking glasses. I had to switch over to my readers so I could read the fucking tiny ass little fucking font, and then give myself my own mix. Now that being said, it's pretty fucking rad. It
sounds
super
cool.
fucking cool.
That's why like
anybody that sucks in the band, I can just mute them.
I mean,
So
so
it was just me.
I was gonna say Brian muted himself. So.
Yeah, I muted everything, and all it was me just singing to myself, no music.
Okay. Well,
But yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah, it sounds cool. So you guys, after the weird scenes of Toxic Avenger last week, suggested we watch The Last House on the Left, and then that wasn't good enough. We had to watch both of them. So we're gonna talk about both 1972 and 2007. Was I think
2009.
2009. Okay,
Yeah,
2009's Last House on the Left. I had never seen the original. And I had heard some things about it, and holy shit, that was the music in that movie is fucking wild. It
It's
is
so
the movie was done by
amazing.
by the main villain.
Was it?
Yeah.
It's so amazing because it's just so all over the place. It feels like it doesn't fit, but I think that's what makes it perfect. Because you're listening to it and you're like, why is this so happy? Why is this so upbeat? Like, what the fuck? And you're just like, oh, amazing. This is.
There's because I'd never seen it before. I didn't know that like there was a sitcom tone to like half of the movie. Like it was like, we're a happy sitcom family, do 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 do, and it's just like, oh. And I'm like, the tone of this movie is wild, and it really, really, truly is. I mean, and it's one of those things where
my dog is crying for no reason.
You're like, you sit there and you go, okay, and I get it because it's 1972 and like whatever, but I'm like, wow, it you know what's funny? It actually kind of reminds me at points of Texas Chainsaw Massacre with acting.
Yeah.
Like the acting is very reminiscent.
The acting, the music, all that jazz for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. We'll get into like I found some great trivia. I pulled a lot from IMDb, but like it's amazing how far this pushed at that time, and we'll get into that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was great. I had forgotten the starkness of it,
right?
And how like it makes you uncomfortable without. It feels like it's not trying to make you uncomfortable, right? Whereas like the newer one, they like, they set the scene, they've got the music, they've got the lights, they've got the ambiance, they've got their webcam that's not focusing, they've got all that jazz. And then this one is like, hey, we've got happy-go-lucky music and everything feels fine and dandy. Rape.
Right. Yeah. It's and I think that's what's one of the more unsettling things about the movie is that it displays all of that with no regard of what they're showing you, and I think that's what adds to how kind of yucky the movie feels when you watch it. It's that's things like that are what actually made Martin Kove he actually didn't really even want to do the movie because Martin Kove had initially auditioned for the villain role of Krug, the one that David Hess ended up taking.
Yeah.
And then David Hess came on. And like I said, he actually did the music for the film as well. So he's responsible for that the juxtaposition of shit that's going on there. But yeah, Martin Kove was just like, he when he read it, and he was just like, it's fucking gross, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. So for years, he actually didn't even like acknowledge the fucking movie.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of the actors did that. A lot of them didn't acknowledge it. A lot of people did not want to click. And like the guy who played Weasel, the Fred, his real name was Fred J. Lincoln. He said it was the worst movie he's ever worked on as far as like grossness or whatever. Hold on, where did the actual quote go? Shit. Anyway, basically, he worked in porn, and he thought that this was like the worst movie.
Well, I mean, as porn is at least a consensual thing, right? And most of the time, I think I would assume that 99.9% of porn is like consensual.
Hope so.
Yeah,
yeah.
Here
At
it
that
is.
point, you're not making porn; you're making snuff.
I know.
He said, Fred.
But there's
he said he
fake.
stated on numerous occasions that he considers this film to be the worst movie he ever did. He was a porn actor, with the irony being that he helped choreograph the more violent scenes in the movie.
Oh wow!
It's one of those things, man, and it's just like. I was wondering while watching it if there's Wes Craven was, because this came out obviously right during the fucking middle of the Vietnam, or I mean, it was more towards the end of the Vietnam War. If there was this thing, he was like making some kind of social message, knowing Wes Craven, because of like happy-go-lucky, that we're so happy, and then like New York City is like kind of like the shithole that it is, and this is the scum of like, so he's kind of going, everyone's acting like everything's so good and happy, and then this shit's happening on the side, and you're just like, ugh, because it feels, that's what I was like thinking. I was like, is there's like, and not knowing Wes Craven, I wouldn't be surprised, because it's like, it very much seems like he's trying to make a point. And this is Wes Craven's first movie, right? So, or did he do a porno? Did Wes Craven do a porno?
Porno before this.
Yeah.
Or after.
Yeah, everything that I've read said that it was his first, but
yeah, they're not acknowledging the porno before.
No.
Yeah, I don't think he even directed it under the name Wes Craven.
Yeah. Dude, also, I want to say before I forget, because I know I'm going to forget, the fucking creepy dialogue about the dad pointing out his daughter isn't wearing a bra. I was just like, ugh. It might have been the grossest thing in both of these movies, and the remake is fucking hardcore. I forgot.
I think during that time frame it wasn't as weird. I will say the thing that I like about going back and watching movies from the 70s and the 80s, from the 1900s, primarily from the 70s and 80s, is it makes me feel better about myself that I swear as much as I do.
Yeah.
Because sometimes like I'll watch things and I'm like, did we not swear during that time? And then you've got this one where she's calling her a cunt and everything else, and I'm like, yes. Thank you so much.
I have to ask you guys too, if you had the same kind of observation. Like, it felt like this movie, the original, felt way more like victim blaming than the remake, or they're like, look what these two girls did. They went to New York City and they asked strangers for that pot and marijuana, and now they ended up dead. It like kind of feels like they even set it up like they're going into a bad neighborhood. Like I was wondering if like it kind of came off like they were like kind of victim blaming a little more than the new one does. Like, it's
I didn't pick up on that. I think that it was trying to show like, okay, these are kids, they're carefree, they're young, they're 17 years old, they're going out there, as the cop said numerous times, like, they're just being kids, they're gonna run off, they're gonna do shit.
Okay, can we talk about the cops? Why is there a whole like fucking like side story where it takes the cops and out, like, it's like a fucking talking about sitcoms. It's like you put in like a laugh track when the two cops are on the screen, like especially when they're running down the road. I'm just like, what? Like in the chicken scene, what the fuck is like? There's like whole parts of this movie that I'm just like, what? That's when I went when the tone whiplash in this movie, like the old black lady with like missing like 90% of her teeth, just laughing at him as she runs him over, and I'm just like, what is this? Like the tone of it was that like scene of the particular. The cops seemed like comic relief in a movie about rape and murder, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
The hippie taunting the deputy in the movie was Steve Miner, the guy that directed Friday 2 and 3.
Well, because it was produced by, what do you call him? The guy who did Friday the 13th, right? Like what's his name? The one
this was produced by that guy.
Yeah.
We don't need to say his name, do we? Sean
No,
Cunningham?
I can't think of it anyways.
We don't really
fuck
want to
that
fucking
guy.
talk about.
Fuck that guy. What were you saying?
There was a moment where they cut out the whole chicken scene. It was a copy. I was trying to find it because when I was reading it earlier, I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." But they had like cut it out and then they brought it back. I don't know where it was, but anyway, there was a whole bunch about it. Also, something really interesting that I just realized is Krug, the main villain, same last name, piece of Kruger.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
but here's something really interesting. This made me chuckle. The movie's been banned several times in the UK by the BBFC. Originally, it was banned in 1974 and rejected for its cinema certificate. In 1984, it was banned again when it became a video nasty and remained that way until 2000, when it was once again rejected for cinema release. In 2001, it was rejected and remained banned. Finally, a video version in 2002 was passed around with 30 seconds of cuts for an 18 rating, which ended the 28-year-long streak of being banned. It was finally passed fully uncut in March 2008. And in order to get it, let's see, hold on. There were a lot of people that were having issues with, here it is. When Wes Craven took the film to the MPAA, they slapped it with an X rating, but Craven wanted an R, so he removed several minutes of footage. It still wasn't enough. They got an X rating. So then he removed more. That still wasn't enough. So Craven put all the original footage back in, got an authentic rated R seal of approval from the film board from a friend of his who put the rating on the film and released it.
Oh, shit. Wow.
So that's how they circumnavigated all of that.
Yeah. Holy. So by all accounts, this movie should have never even fucking been released.
Yep.
So, wow. That's crazy.
This is, you're what, 10 years before the videos, like everyone has a video player in their house and like video stores. So yeah, it's like you are not
you're absolutely right. Cause that shit wasn't common until early mid 80s.
What year did Midnight Cowboy come out? Like 67, I think.
Man,
because that was the one Best Picture as an X-rated film with John Voight and when Dustin Hoffman.
1969.
Is it 69? Okay, giggity.
Yeah.
But like that still is the weirdest shit in the world to me, because that movie, like, it's the content. I mean, the subject matter more, but like that how it won Best Picture is just fucking. And that's you watch that movie now. I like bought it on DVD, like when it like they were releasing it for the first time on DVD years ago, and I bought it because I was like heard about it. I'm like, this is a great movie. Included, I'm walking here, that famous shit. But like,
right, yeah.
But like, you go, oh man, these times are different. And did you either one of you guys watch it? Like Josh and I talked about it on the podcast one day. There was a movie about a British woman who worked for the ratings board in the 80s during the video nasty time frame, and then she loses her fucking mind. The movie's wild, and it was real good. I can't think of the fucking name of the movie right now, but because the 80s were so insane in Britain, like with like all that stuff. Ken was talking about it, like they were like just banning films like left and right during the 80s, so none of that surprises me at all.
No.
But it is weird like watching that movie, because it's like you sit there and you go, the rape is such a, I mean, we talked about last week was how we got here, like in Toxic Avenger, like it's such an uncomfortable thing, because it's such a fucking disgusting act that you just sit there and go and the scene in this movie is harsh, but it's not nearly as harsh as the one from 2007, but like, or 2009, but like this for 1972 is fucking bonkers. Like, I don't know, Ken, did you see anything like, I don't know when the first time they even had something like this on, like, you know, like in a movie. I wonder, like, when was the first like rape like shown on a, I bet this is pretty early.
I don't know. I didn't look that up. But
I know. I just, what I'm saying is it's a very like, it's crazy how like this movie pushed the ratings board, right? Because the R rating came out in the 60s, right? So, was it in the 60s?
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, I'm talking about how much this pushed everything, like, right? And so like it's, you obviously had in the 60s. I mean, you think about like 68. So yeah, not long before this, right?
Yeah.
You're like doing 4 years.
The first sex scene was 12 seconds long in 1896. It was considered a first sex scene because it was a kiss.
Oh, okay.
That's not a sex scene.
Wait, hold on. I lied. Oh no, it's considered to be sexual behavior.
I mean, is it? I just think of What We Do in the Shadows and Laszlo talk about when they invented the movie camera, and then they immediately made the first porno, and then that was when he plays the Randy vampire. But man,
so, go ahead.
No, I wasn't gonna. I was just gonna go on Rod rant. You go ahead.
Well, so this movie in 1972 cost about $90,000 to make, which in today's money is 676-ish thousand. So it's still a very, very low budget movie.
Yeah.
Whereas Last House on the Left from 2009 in 2009 money was $15 million. And it grossed $46 million. It's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly what the gross was on Last House on the Left in 1972, just because of all the like weird stuff that went on with it. I did see a number, but I don't remember what it was. We might be able to find it.
I mean, this movie made enough of an impact and did well enough that Wes Craven kept doing stuff. I mean, this is 12 years before Nightmare on Elm Street, right? Which is, I think, the first movie that people think about when they think of Wes Craven. But like this one, like for horror people, is like up there because of the notorious nature of it, right? Like it's such a, like, it caused shockwaves, like Ken's talking about, you know, getting banned in all these countries and all that shit. And you're just going, yeah, it makes sense. But like, I mean, I don't know, man. It's horror. I mean, people loved horror, but this is like the very beginnings of like them doing that R-rated stuff because they didn't do. I mean, look at Psycho, which is like from 1960, right? And like how that movie doesn't have language, I mean, it has violence, but it's not shown violence. And then you have this movie where there's like rape scenes and murder, death, and all that stuff, you know, like that. Oh, you know what? One of the things I really liked about the remake after watching them both for the same day is the dad with the wrench, where like in the original where he's got the wrench in like the garbage can, like he's gonna go fight him with that, and then in the remake he's in the shed and he like picks it up and swings it a couple times, just like the dad from the original. I'm like, I see what you did there.
Callbacks, baby.
Yeah, callbacks.
And Tony Goldwyn is really good in the remake.
Dude,
I like Tony Goldwyn. He's a good actor.
I understand.
I like the kid, the Spencer Treat Clark.
Isn't he fucking awesome?
He's so good. And the whole time too, like I was just like, I couldn't remember if they took him with them. But the whole time I was like, oh my God, please take this kid with you. Please take this kid with you. Like, it was just a circumstance, dude. Like, take this child. And so they did. And I was like, yes, thank you. I don't know if you guys watched the unedited cut or like the extended or whatever.
That's what I did, yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't remember the last time I watched it, him putting dude in the microwave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was sick. That was so
But-
cool.
So fucking cool.
Dude, I was watching it. It was on Tubi, I think, and it like I forgot about it, and like it's like kind of like a post credit sequence, right? Like and because they show the thing, and then I'm like, oh, they must have cut it off because it's Tubi. Nope, it's like after they show the title, and then they do that, and he's just like, oh, that scene is. I was like, where's the microwave head scene? And because I think I have it on DVD on like unrated somewhere, so I was like. Oh, did they cut that out for Tubi, or like this is not the R-rated? Yeah,
I own it, so
yeah.
I watched it,
dude.
and I have it's a Blu-ray. I have a Blu-ray of it.
You know the kid that you're talking about was in fucking Gladiator. I was like,
yeah.
I was like, this little fucker, and then I was like looking through his.
He's actually had a hell of a career.
Oh, I know.
I was just looking at all this stuff right now.
Yeah, he's done a lot of
really
stuff.
Good career.
I mean. He's just he looked so much like he does in this movie as a little kid, but like
we get to see him again coming up here pretty soon, so I'm pretty excited because he's in Salem's Lot, and that's finally coming out.
Oh hell yes!
I can't wait for that movie to come out and be awesome, and another fucking Warner Brother movie that they could have made a bunch of money in the theater with, and don't for some fucking idiotic reason.
Honestly. I hope it's good, but I'm not gonna lie. I actually don't have a lot of high hopes for it.
I heard it was good. Stephen King said it was good. Like
Stephen King directed Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah, that was back when he was so much. He was like they're like, do you want cocaine?
He was on more coke than fucking Belushi, and I understand that, but.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He says he says a lot of movies are good that aren't, dude. Like I love Stephen King.
Yeah.
I fucking love Stephen King.
Yeah.
But he's not exactly Gene Siskel or Roger Ebert.
Dude.
Okay.
Now I want to talk about, because you guys can remind me, there are aspects of the original that are actually more hardcore than the fucking remake. Like one. The whole fucking the guy got his kid hooked on heroin to control and thing, and like then watching the kid go through withdrawals is fucking bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Two, I can't. The chainsaw at the end makes me laugh. And
oh my god, the chainsaw scene at the end, all it makes me think of is Motel Hell. Like it's just such a like as soon as like because it gets to the point where you're like, okay, we get it. We get it, you chainsaw, okay? Like, we get it.
Yep.
But, like, I mean, it definitely was needed. But, yeah, the whole time I was like, okay.
It's very much like, okay, we need to stretch this out a couple minutes more. Go slow. I'm walking slow with the chainsaw. I mean... And the other thing that I think of, like, it being more hardcore, that the daughter doesn't survive the attack. It's like that thing, and the kid, right? Like, that scene where he tells his own kid to put his gun in his mouth and shoot himself is fucking whacked out, man. It's just like, but there's another that made me laugh because another thing, and as we're watching in these older movies, like Toxic Avenger and this one, like. The teeth they use like the shitty like poor people teeth that they have in the killers. You could see how bad the teeth look. You're just like, oh no. And it's the stuff where you go, oh, because it wasn't made to be shown in HD, like, you know.
Right. This movie wasn't supposed to be cleaned up this way.
No, it wasn't. But man, it's funny because like the two real, like, I mean, all three, but four, I mean, there's 4 deaths in the remake, but like they're all pretty fucking hardcore, and including the rape of the first chick, and then like how she dies is just like they just like stab her like 3 times and then just sit there and watch her bleed out. It's pretty fucking hard to watch. Like that's just like the girl getting shot in the eyeball is like one of the more hardcore
that was
things.
gold.
Yeah.
I loved that. That was so anytime that there's eyeball stuff, I don't know what the deal is. I can't fuck with like teeth and stuff. That shit messes with me. Eyeball stuff, I'm all for it.
Dude, so how did you feel about the teeth dream sequence?
don't like
Dude, that I was like, what the fuck is happening? And because I don't know, is it like I felt like in the original it was a little too like that was just a peace necklace, right? It was just a peace necklace that the dude was wearing that like was the daughter's, right? It feels like they were like, okay, this is a little harder to believe because I mean, this is 1972. More than one person in the world had a peace necklace. Like they see a peace necklace and they're like, okay, they killed our daughter. And in the remake, it's the thing that her brother died, but they had a like individualized like locket, right? And so that made more sense to me. It was just like, oh, okay, this is easier and like whatever. But like, it's weird. The stuff. I mean, it takes to like what the movie's like about an hour and 20 minutes, and the rape stuff happens obviously, but like the revenge on the killers is like the last 8 minutes of the movie. Like it's the credits in this movie are in the original are real short. They're like 2 minutes. Like it's like barely anything compared to now, where you don't get out of a major motion picture movie without like 7 to 10 minutes worth of credits, right? So this is like the whole like final act. It pushes closer to 2 hours, but like the whole confrontation with the killers is closer to half an hour, unlike the original. So it was like it builds up that tension more and like, you know, kind of like lets you soak in it, unlike the original where it's just like, okay, we got to get to 120. We got to get to an hour, 20 minutes. Okay. Now walk up. We're on with the chainsaw real slow.
We're padding the timeline at the time here.
I mean, that's all I could think of with that chainsaw. That's all I could think of. Like they're padding to like an hour and 20 minutes. So
I think that it's really interesting to see like the difference in the time and how it felt. So like neither one of them felt like they really dragged a lot, other than the chainsaw scene.
Yeah.
The first one was an hour and 24 minutes. The second was almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
But the second one, it just flowed well
Yeah.
to me. It felt like it flowed well. I did get up and walk around at one point with my headphones on, but while I was gone, I was like, man, what is actually going on? Like I came back and turned it back a little. But like they flowed really well. Time wise, they felt really fluid. Definitely. I'd forgotten how much I liked the newest one.
Yep.
So
I prefer to watch it over the original. I think actually, I think that I think I agree. I think in many ways the remake is honestly, it's a better movie. I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 50-year difference, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
or 40-year difference. Yeah,
7-year difference. Yeah. I think that the original obviously has its place in horror history.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. I get it. And it's okay. I prefer the Chainsaw remake to the original. Not because I think it's a better movie. It's certainly but it's a more well-made or well-constructed movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a more cohesive story to it. It's more watchable.
Yeah.
And I think this is similar in many ways.
Yeah.
Except I actually think the remake might be a better movie. I kind of think it might be actually a better movie.
I think that the tone differences, man. Like I generally like the original. Like this is my first time watching it today. I just there's parts of it that are just like I said, it feels like a sitcom at times. There's like the cops feel like a fucking comedic relief in a movie, but with this subject, you're just like,
it's very like I feel like Texas Chainsaw Massacre did a good job of probably looking at that and being like, okay, that's too much.
Yeah.
Even though they wanted Texas Chainsaw to be a comedy and it couldn't be, but like that was too much. So they took those scenes and cut them even shorter to where you've just got the small moment at the gas station. You've just got these tiny segments. Whereas in this one, it's still kind of new.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you know, very Andy Griffith show, like,
right.
Well,
da-da-da-da-da-da.
And I think that doing that with like, I mean, we all love fucking horror comedy. I just think that like this is kind of in the early, that and the subject matter is like makes it like, and which is why like I think the tone of the new one's better in a lot of ways, and I think you can't. It just doesn't give you that whiplash that like the original does, and like there's a lot to like in the original, right? Like it's not shitting on that movie at all. I mean, you think about it, like 1972. This is like whatever, but like I just think because this the remake came out during the fucking the whole like what was it? Was it Texas Chainsaw started the whole remake thing, right? Like in 2003. 2003, I think was that like the Texas Chainsaw remake.
I think it was basically Chainsaw that started the whole thing because they went through. Michael Bay produced a few of them because I think he produced the Friday one, I think he produced the Nightmare one, I think he produced Amityville, and then other people joined the party as well because Last House was remade by Sean Cunningham. He produced the remake and the original.
I didn't. Yeah, that's what the name we didn't say it before. But like, I didn't see his name on the. I don't think his name was as front and center as it was in the original, right? Like in the original, you saw his name right at the beginning.
But he's definitely absolutely listed as a producer.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to pay his bills that year. So
yeah.
His fat fucking ass and do something. I don't like Sean Cunningham.
No, I mean, no one does. I mean, he's the reason why we're in the current situation with Jason, right? Like, and why like it's
yes and no. I mean, it's
yeah.
Fuck it's I mean, I'm not. I don't like Sean Cunningham.
Yeah.
He's a fucking.
Dude, it's that thing where producers are just like that thing where like you can be really shitty people and get away with it because you're basically pumping money into things, and so you get away with it.
True story.
I mean, it's like how the Weinstein brothers were like.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say it. Like Harvey Weinstein, he was a fucking scumbag. Everybody knew for years.
I mean, yeah, and that's like the same thing. It's like these fuckers in Hollywood. It's. I mean, we sit there and go. You have. How many people? I mean, like we talk about all these people are canceled now, and like you sitting there like people that were just had these positions of power and they just fucking abuse it and like Whedon and like all these other people, and you're just like, and it doesn't take anything to be a not piece of shit, guys. That's all I have to say. But like so you're doing that when it's coming out right in that middle of all these remakes, and like I think because. This and I don't know, again, kind of like the whole talk we had with like Immaculate in the first Omen, it kind of seemed like someone said they were going to remake The Last House on the Left, and someone else was like, oh, we need to do I Spit on Your Grave because the I Spit on Your Grave remake
I Spit on Your Grave remake
came out at
they made fucking 3 or 4 of those goddamn things.
Yeah, which is just like
the remake generated sequels.
Yeah, and they were all directed DVD
fact,
or whatever.
That's
but
Demi Moore's booty on the case of the original I Spit on Your Grave.
But she wasn't in the movie, was she?
No, she was not in the movie. That was just her backside.
Yeah.
She was only like 16 or 15 or some shit.
Dude, that was another thing that was like weird about they waited till she was 18 in the original to commit violence to her. You notice that like none of the violence happens until her 18th birthday. I don't think. Well, in the fucking remake, they're just we can commit violence on a 17-year-old. It's just like, man, I think that that tone that was really happening in the 2000s applied well to this film, and that like they respected the subject matter and they did a very good job of like, because you had to clean up the tone from the original. I mean, keep talking about it, like, man, it just. But when they did that and they did that serious tone and they just, man, I just think they nailed it. And they did that really good thing where it's like you just have a couple dumb teenagers out smoking weed and it gets them into this whole situation. And like,
well, that's what happens. You go smoke weed, you get raped. That means you're having sex. So then you're pregnant and then you die. So don't go out of the house.
That's what it kind of felt like. That's what I was saying. Like in the original, they
Just
kind of
stay
go like,
at home
"You smoke weed," and
Phasmophobia. Get high and play Phasmophobia. Okay.
No, don't get high. Somebody will break into your house.
Oh, okay. Shit.
I have to
I
say,
don't know what the fuck I'm doing later. Then never mind.
I mean, it's weird seeing Aaron Paul in a movie like this now because I mean he was like right there with like about he had started Breaking Bad, and I probably assumed that the first season was out when this came out, and you just go. I don't think many people knew who he was at that point in time, like because Breaking Bad was one of those shows that I don't think people started watching, like a lot of people started watching until it was like over with or almost. I think I started watching in between like the 4th and 5th seasons, like so like, and then the 5th season got split into 2 seasons.
Yeah,
but
Breaking Bad initially came out in 2008.
Yeah, and it was the year before. So if it like started at the end, like whatever premiere, and then went into the second. Into 2008-9, you're like whatever, but like like I said, the cast of this movie is fucking wild. Like it's amazing how good the cast is. Like all the performances in this, like I think that's one of the things about the original that was a little like that's why I was like comparing it to like Texas Chainsaw, like especially with the killers have that little like kind of they're a little bit cartoony, right? Like they're a little bit like over the top, and I don't know if that was to make like because when they're down to earth humans, it like is it harder to watch? I don't know, like because like you talk like the guy in the remake, and he's like just taunting the daughter about what he did to his daughter and shit like that. That shit is just like you're just like guy is a fucking creep, and I don't know if that's still gonna get him away with like when they're like, oh, we found what happened to this place, and you made the guy not be able to talk or walk and put his head in a microwave, which, dude, because okay, the head in the microwave and the hand in the fucking garbage disposal.
Yes.
I can't be the only one who's like who always would like you go near the garbage disposal like or you like a fork or something goes in and you're like. No, no. I don't know how many times garbage disposals have happened in horror movies, but holy shit, that scene is just hard to fucking watch. It's just like
it's glorious.
It's fucking awesome. Yeah,
yeah, it is. Because like what's funny? Because I think about You're Next that came out in I think 2011, so like a couple years after this, and like the blender. Or it's like the broken blender into the dude's top of his head. You're just like, man, they were fucking people up with kitchen appliances right around this time.
I was just looking it up because I remember it, but I don't remember it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Speaking of kitchen appliances, oh shit. So, and this is like my second reference to Evil Dead Rise, even though I didn't bring up the eyeball a minute ago. Cheese graters. Super side note. I had the cheese grater. I had borrowed one to do all this zucchini bread cooking, and it was sitting by my leg in the car. And we got out, and Katz went to grab it, and I was like, "Evil Dead, Evil Dead, Evil Dead, Evil Dead."
Dude,
anyways,
I had so I finished up a game. I'd been like a tabletop game. I've been recording for a while now, like today, but like last weekend. One of our players like was like trying to like get food like while we were getting ready and cheese grated her thumb and it was like and I was just like Evil Dead Rise, Evil Dead Rise, Evil Dead Rise.
I didn't cheese grate my thumb, but last night I almost got my fucking finger off doing fucking dishes. Ugh.
You shouldn't. You want to keep your fingers attached, Brian.
Yeah, I know.
Man, I
hurt like a motherfucker. I wasn't sure how deep it went because it felt very deep.
Yeah.
So I was like, I wrapped it and bandaged it, and I was like keeping an eye on it. I was like, if I can get it to stop bleeding, it'll obviously be fine. But I'm like watching it just to make sure I don't need to fucking go to the doctor and get stitches and shit. And it cut such a shitty spot because I'm like right by my fingernail and shit, and all I'm thinking is horrifying things like, oh god.
So
I threw the knife out.
Yeah, fuck that.
I didn't.
What year did I Spit on Your Grave, the original I Spit on Your Grave, come out? Because I'm trying to figure out, like, because the 70s were
1978.
Okay, so it was 6 years after this. So the 70s are kind of known for exploitation like cinema, right? Like black exploitation is the one that gets like, you know, referenced a lot, but like rape revenge stuff is like right up there with exploitation film. And I was wondering if this was like the first one of those, and that's why I asked that question, because this and I Spit in Your Grave are kind of the two most.
Like Peeping Tom kind of touched on that
and that came out right around the same time as Psycho, right?
Yeah, Peeping Tom came out in 1960 and got
yeah
very much overlooked and bashed horrifically, and then recently people started looking at it through a different lens, and now it's like regarded as one of the greatest fucking thrillers ever made.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's very much
it killed the poor director's career too. That's what sucks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that movie was ahead of its time, right? Because I mean, it was
very far. Yeah, very far.
I mean,
it was made in 1960. It didn't even come out for 2 years until
that movie came. I mean, very much like what the Elijah Wood Maniac remake did, right? Where it was like first person, like of the killer going around recording and himself like killing stuff, but like 50 years before that, like
I've seen it, but it's been a little bit.
I've never seen it. Like I think Psycho was my like only. I think Psycho might be the only Hitchcock film I've ever actually seen. But like I saw that
you've
movie.
Never seen like Vertigo or Vertigo's so fucking good, dude.
Yeah, I love Psycho, man. Psycho's
people love The Birds, but I don't like that movie.
I don't really like The Birds.
Yeah, I don't really care for Rear Window's really good though.
Yeah, I've seen the non Rear Window with
Fez.
With what we call it. What the fuck? Shia LaBeouf. Was it
Disturbia?
Yeah, That's just Rear Window, isn't it?
Yes, but there's also a Rear Window reference in an episode of that 70s show.
Oh. I was like, what the fuck are you talking?
Trying to spy on Bob's wife.
Dude, Fez is like brief appearance in the 90s show was the only thing that saved was good in that show. Holy fuck, okay. It was so bad. That show was
no, it wasn't.
That 90s show?
It's got Red and Kitty in it.
It was terrible.
No,
terrible.
It wasn't
terrible.
No, that's why they made more, because it wasn't terrible.
It was terrible.
If it was terrible, there wouldn't have been more.
Oh yeah, because that's The Real Housewives of New Jersey is a great show, Brian. That's why there's 8 billion seasons of it.
A shitload of people watch it, Rod.
That doesn't mean it's good. Fucking Five Nights at Freddy's made $250 million at the box office. That doesn't mean it's good, Brian.
Oh my God! Somebody came in the other day and asked me if I knew what Five Nights at Freddy's was.
I love that.
And I was like, "No, what is that?" And they were like, "You don't know?" And I was like, "No." No, it was because there was a reference to Freddy Fazbear's or whatever, like the place. And I was like, I wonder what that's from. Like, I ran with this shit for a good 10 minutes. It did not go well because somebody got their feelings hurt. And that's fair and that's valid. But at the same time, I was like,
don't ask
I know what it
is. Next point. How much money have the Transformers movies made, Brian?
Oh my God, he's still going.
So terrible.
Oh, but they made a lot of people in sound, Brian. I'm still going. Yes,
terrible.
I was just pointing.
Well, there's a difference between what we're talking about and what you're talking about, right? Because I'm talking about a different thing. Netflix doesn't make money each time somebody watches a movie. You know what I mean? When movies make over $100 million, they're going to make another one, especially if they only cost like $20 million to make. You know. So you can make bad movies that make a lot of money, and you're just going to get a whole shitload more of bad movies. But if you have a bad show on Netflix, they're not going to make more of them.
I mean, as long as people watch it, they will.
If it's a good show on Netflix, they're not going to make more of them sometimes.
I was going to say, if it's a good show, they're not going to make more of them. So what's the matter?
It's just hit or miss. But the 90s, that 90s show, it wasn't bad. It was fine.
Dude, I thought it was painful. I thought it was painful.
Part's even better, and then the third part just dropped, and
I only watched the first part. Because I was like, this so.
Give the second part a shot. But it's all about being it's all about being able to relate to the fucking kids.
Yeah.
And it could be a generational thing because I grew up I'm a little older than you all.
Yeah.
So I grew up kind of in the 90s.
I mean,
I was 13 in 1990. So
Kin's old enough to like that she could be your daughter. So I mean,
how old are you? No, you're 30, right?
No,
I'm
she's
34.
Yeah, no, I'm not that fucking old, you bastard.
Oh, you weren't coming at 13?
No.
I was coming at like 11, so here we go.
Why does that not surprise me?
I mean,
that doesn't surprise me.
Shouldn't surprise anyone.
I was coming at 11 years old. I'm gonna write a country song called
I was coming at 11 years old. Fuck, man.
Oh,
How did we get here? Fuck,
I walked in from the other room.
Oh my gosh.
But no, I really genuinely did like the original. I just think that like the tone shifts in the
I'm
original.
glad you like the original because most horror fans that have never seen that decide to watch it now typically don't really dig it because like honestly and I compare it to Chainsaw a lot because it's relatively fair comparison.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Because like anybody that I've ever tried to get to like say introduce them to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the vast majority of them watch it and they're like, that fucking sucked. And I'm like, that's so weird because as hard as I am on that movie, I still think it's a great movie. But it's strange. It's interesting. It's like modern horror fans do not fucking like Chainsaw. They think it sucks. They think it's boring. They think it's filled with bad acting. And they're just like, it was irritating. Everyone's just like, I'm glad he chainsawed the fuck out of Franklin.
I mean, because Franklin's the most annoying character in the history of cinema. That's why. Yeah. I mean, dude, I'll go to my grave with the thought process that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a home invasion film, and that Leatherface was completely defending his turf, and he was in Texas, so you're allowed to do that in Texas. And Franklin just was annoying as fucking, just deserved it. So there's nothing wrong that you fucking Leatherface was the victim in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Leatherface was the victim.
He was.
He is having a fucking day.
Yeah, he is.
After that second person, he's like all fucking out of sorts. He's all freaking out in his own room. He sits down. He's like got his hands on his head.
The last house.
Christ, all I want to do is cook fucking dinner.
Dude, the Last House on the Left is harder to watch than Texas Chainsaw. Like it's. I mean, sure. This is it. It's a grosser film. It's a grosser film.
It is.
Like
for sure.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, if you go in and watch it, like, and go, whatever, there's hardly any blood. It's not like, it's all your imagination, right? Like that magic, like the meat hook and all that shit. You don't see shit. You're more grossed out from like the house and like the chicken feathers and the bones and all that in Grandpa. And this movie, just the rape scenes and all this stuff, even though they don't. Yeah, it's just like, it just makes you feel like gross, and it just feels like ew the whole time. And yeah, I don't know. I'm thoroughly of the thing that where I think you're right. I think the remake of Texas Chainsaw is a better film. I mean, not a better film, more enjoyable film. It's probably
more enjoyable.
Yeah, it's probably not a better film, but like,
I have a lot more fun watching the Chainsaw remake than I do the original one.
And I'll say this. I mean, I've said this, screamed this from the rooftop. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is a better movie than Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So here we are.
Yes, it is.
So here we are.
100%. I know we're kind of probably close to winding down.
Yep.
I have an idea for our next episode.
What's up?
Because I loved what we just did now, where we talked about an original and a remake.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it again. Let's run it back.
Okay.
Let's talk about The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
I've never seen the original. I've seen the remake.
I have both
remake. So that's what's weird about the original, like, or the remake. It's like, it's
a meta remake.
It's a weird thing where it's like, yeah, the original happened.
It's a meta.
Yeah,
remake.
yeah. It's the original
it's got
good.
Spencer Clark in it that we just saw.
Nice.
Spencer Clark. He plays in the Town That Dreaded Sundown remake.
Oh, okay. Who's? Is that the kid?
That's the kid.
Yeah. Dude, he's got such a. That was my like. Those were one of the things I really liked about the remake. I think it felt like they were like so respective of the they respected the original, but they were like, we want to like change a couple things, and
they gave it its own identity for
yeah.
sure. Like 1,000%. Yeah.
Because I don't think. I mean, the daughter surviving actually makes it like feel like a more hopeful thing, even though she's really fucked up in whatever and went through all this. But like that and like some other stuff. But I'm down with doing that. Have you seen either one of those, Ken?
No. I may have seen the original or the new one, but I don't know for sure. So I'm for it.
Wasn't that another one of the based on a true story, like Ed Gaines kind of movies?
Yeah.
Yeah,
very much.
Okay, cool. We'll do that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, doesn't the killer is like Jason from Friday 2, right? It's like bag on his head. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
killer is Jason.
Yeah.
The killer is Jason for part 2.
Yeah, basically. Okay. Cool. Well, let's see. Okay. So that's everything then. I had a fun time with this, even in a gross way. I just think that like, if you do these things right, you can get a lot of emotion out of the audience, and I feel like they did that with both of these. And I love the comeuppance that the crew gets in the remake. I think that's the best part of it. Is just like you watching these people that suck get what's coming to them.
Yeah.
And
get what they deserve. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Go to murdermoose.com, go to YouTube, look for Murder Moose Podcast, and follow us there and watch all the videos. And you can follow me on Twitter at Rod_Johnston and Twitch at Rod_Johnston. Brian.
You can find me here, and you can find me at the We're Gonna Make You Watch podcast. The next episode is that we are uploading, that just got uploaded, is the Sinister episode.
Yep.
And then the next episode will be House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yep.
And tomorrow we're recording the newest episode where we make Warren watch Trick or Treat.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that movie.
Oh, I love that movie. Yeah. We're picking as movies that really fit as much spooky season vibe that we can.
I want to do that movie actually.
Is so fucking.
I want to do that movie for the podcast in October because I fucking love that movie. So, cool. That sounds great. I mean, you guys have been like, you guys looked up grody horror movies that like just make you feel like gross and yucky, like and you're like, oh, Warren, we're gonna get like I still think that you guys are trying to make that motherfucker tap out, and I think it's
we're trying to make him quit.
Yeah.
I have a feeling you're gonna make him numb.
Yeah.
That's funny because we actually talk about that in our most recent recording, is how he's like, I can tell that I've seen some horror movies now because a lot of these ain't bothering me like as much, but he's still at least once every episode he's just like, I got that feeling in my back, y'all.
Dude, get him to watch Martyrs. I want to see like the Martyrs, what Martyrs would do to him, because like that's one of those movies that people that they get.
I've actually not seen that. I've not seen Martyrs. I need to watch it.
Yeah.
I've heard lots.
It starts off like you're like, what the fuck, and you're like, what?
I know that they did a remake of it. Isn't that the Speak No Evil remake?
No, there's just the American Martyrs is called Martyrs also.
It was? Oh.
Yeah. They
I thought that was the remake that Speak No. I guess Speak No.
No, that was a remake of Speak No Evil, actually.
Oh, because I've never seen that version.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's whatever Swedish or whatever the fuck it was. So yeah, that's cool though. So check out that We're Gonna Make You Watch. Ken, where's all your stuff?
Continue.com, KINTINUE. I'm live on Twitch every day except for Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern. I'm also floating around on Twitter, and you can find me on TikTok and Fansly. I've been doing TikTok lives. It is what it is, you know. Doing it for exposure, exposing this dick. Sorry,
exposing these nuts
all over this place.
So cool. Okay. Next week we will be back to watch the town that dreaded sunshine. Right?
The town that what?
The town?
Yeah,
sundown. What the fuck is it called? I don't know.
Town that dreaded sundown.
I said sunshine, didn't I?
Yeah, and something else at the beginning, but
yeah, the crown that dreaded.
I said the
sunshine.
town. Oh,
the hound.
The town that dreaded sundown.
Ran his legs dry.
I don't have an excuse. We'll catch you guys next
beautiful.
week with the town that dreaded sundown. Love you. Bye.
Bye.